because I think everyone should be proud of their community, should be proud of who they are, and let people know what's here. What put us on the map to begin with.
Going out to the mural.
Well, a lady came by the shopping center. I don't even remember if it was at my office or the head office. We got to talking about murals. I was telling her that we wanted to put one in the back of this building, and she said, "You've got to go see the one in Wellston."
Okay.
Because the guy who did that just does awesome work. So I said, "Well, what's his name?" And she said it was Palmer Studios. Found your name, and then I looked you up, and that's how we did that.
They had to kind of prep the wall. There's all kinds of wire and all kinds. This is the back of a building. It's not really supposed to be viewed. But I told them, I said, "What are we going to do with all these wires? They're just everywhere."
There were a lot of them. That was actually my husband's challenge. He made that happen. He talked to some people and got some other, you send an email and you get a contact, then you get another contact. Finally, someone, the right person, we got a hold of, and they got those wires removed. That was good. Everything just kind of worked. Even Bob's schedule, he said, "How soon do you need it?" And we're thinking, well, we'd like to have it before, there's some time, how about a couple of weeks from now?
Yeah.
And I said, well, yeah, that would work.
And we started talking about exactly what would go on it. Murals are kind of like billboards. Hopefully you understand them about 55 miles an hour. Most of the time, people want things that signify who they are. Route 66, as you know, I don't even know how many miles it is, but as people drive along it, they kind of want to know about the community. And this mural does that. It talks about kind of Route 66 in general, but it's very specific to Arcadia. And I think that's kind of neat because I think everyone should be proud of their community, should be proud of who they are, and let people know what's here. What put us on the map to begin with.
South of the highway here, Route 66, there was a railroad. It came in 1903. It was a heavy rain that happened in 1974 that seized the railroad. Of course, we got the first state flag, which was around that same year. And I wanted to start with faith-based, end it with faith-based, and that's kind of what we did with the crosses. There were not 4 churches, I don't think, in the early 1900s, but there were 3. Today, there are 4 churches in Arcadia. Then we move on with the town of Arcadia. They're real famous for putting on a rodeo, and they do that every Labor Day. Some of the old structures that are still in town. This is the Methodist Church, it's the oldest church that's still in town. It's actually still owned by the Arcadian Historical Society. And then the Teuton, we call this the Teuton drug because it was really known for that, but it was first a bank. Back in the 1900s, it was a bank.
And those are the two just behind the round barn.
The Teuton is.
The Teuton?
The church is on 4th Street. Most of the businesses back there. Actually, everything burned down except this Teuton building, which still is there today. And then this buggy is in the round barn. This buggy, and it was actually found in Sam Gillespie's barn, who lives just east of here, and he restored it, and it's sitting at the brown barn. The road in the early 1900s, because the barn kind of divides that road from the early years and the new years onto the blacktop road, and then changing it to the blacktop. see anybody, you see the, cars are coming along and it's and you see a lot of trees on there. And there's a tree farm on the east side, on the south side of 66. I just kind of wanted to put trees in here to kind of recognize them. This is a 520 Aero Commander. They manufactured those in Bethany, Oklahoma. So that's, during this era in the 1950s, it was kind of a popular plane. And of course, as you know, motorcycles are a big hit on Route 66. My husband and I, and the one behind us is our daughter. So that was, these pictures were taken about when she was 16. And then the 57 Thunderbird, my husband bought that for my birthday a couple of years ago. So we wanted to put that in there, of course, the shield of Route 66. I've made everything just look good. The windmill is out there, was the only thing on this property when we bought it. And it's out there, and we have that flag that's above the windmill. We wanted to honor America and the flag, so we have our 2 grandkids. Got to stick them in there somewhere. This is the Blockman's restaurant across the street, but it used to be a Phillips 66 station. And actually, in 1986, we personally converted it to a cafe. So we had a little cafe. That was one of the first businesses that we had in this town. And then Gibble Gas was on the north side of 66. And this came from an actual photo. And this is owned by a local businessman here. He passed away a few years back. But
Trailer.
Yep, trailer. So several towns have taken on their 100 greatest malls. This is our 100. So we have Maryland was the first mayor. There's only been 3 mayors, and she was mayor for like 20 years or so. So we wanted to put her up there to honor him. And Proverbs 3:6, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. So I wanted to pick a verse that had to do with, the path, direction, and so that's the verse that we kind of selected for that.
I've learned in my 40 some odd years of mural painting to surround myself with good people. I get a lot of credit, but I really like to give credit where credit is due. This is obviously who I am. My website is muralsbypalmer.com. Journey helped us when we were working on several projects in Chandler, and the last time she worked for us there was at the City Hall. So anyway, she's kind of the newbie on this crew. Kayla, like I said, I really enjoy working with her. I always like artists who I don't have to micromanage. I like to just tell them what I want, walk away. And Kayla's one of the few people that can do that. Joelle has probably worked for me longer than anyone else, probably about 28 years. Joelle does a great job. Shane Cox does a lot of my people. He can do faces just incredibly. I was chair of the department at UCO when Shane called me and asked me about if I was hiring. And I asked Shane, I said, well, are you any good? And he said, well, you tell me. He said, I'll send you some of my pictures. So he sent me some images, and I actually thought he sent me photographs. And I never responded back. He called me back in a few weeks and goes, well, did you get my images? And I said, yeah, but why did you send me photographs? And he goes, those are paintings. And I go, they're what? So he's just really awesome, very low key. Holly, she loves to work with us. She also is our person. We have a gallery in Quail Springs Mall, and Holly actually works with me with the gallery there. She helps me keep everyone on point as far as hours and that kind of thing. So anyway, that's the crew that worked on this project, and it was so nice because I just got to paint. I didn't have to really watch over anyone's shoulder. I gave them an area, and as Vi said, they were allowed to kind of sign where they worked primarily. I kind of work all over because part of the job is making a mural of this size look like one person did it. You really don't want a mural that goes, oh, that's where Kayla worked and that's where Joelle worked. You really want it to look like one person did it. So that's part of my job, is to create continuity and hopefully make it look like that.